an explanation from law enforcement's perspective about what happened, but the information that we've gleaned from our own investigation, out on the scene, speaking to witnesses who were there, is that officers basically ascended on this apartment complex in southwest Atlanta. It was about 7 or so in the morning on a Tuesday. Kids were walking to the bus stop to go to school. They came in with military assault-style rifles to execute what was a run-of-the-mill warrant for robbery. Jimmy had been accused of a robbery, and we still don't know all the details behind that. It certainly is not in his character. But he'd been accused of a robbery, apparently, and the officers were there to execute this warrant, this FBI task force that consists of multiple different police agencies. They happened upon him in his girlfriend's apartment. He then fled because he was afraid, unarmed, eventually fleeing into the apartment of a friend who lived in the complex, seeking refuge there. He was ultimately found by police hiding inside of that friend's closet. The information we have is that he was surrendering. He had his hands up. He had no weapon, and he was shot in the face by the police right there in that closet while he was down on the ground, and not a threat, no longer fleeing. And, the information we have is that there's no real good explanation for why he could not have been taken into custody alive. That's the information we have. No one has refuted that. We know that he was unarmed. They don't want to come out and say that he was unarmed. But the reason why you know he was unarmed is that if he was armed, the first thing they would have said in their press release is that we shot this person, he had a gun, and we had to. Instead, they're playing coy, and they're not answering the question that people are presenting to them on all fours. Was he armed? We have no answer from them in that regard, but the witnesses on the scene tell us unequivocally that he was unarmed at the time he was shot.
So this is what I got to say about this situation. January 23rd or something like that. In Atlanta is where this took place. What's about to take place in Atlanta right now? The Super Bowl. Who's singing or performing during halftime? Big Boy out of Atlanta, right? Now, I'm a fan of Outkast, and I'm a fan of Big Boy as well. But what I'm going to say to you, Big Boy, if Colin Kaepernick put his career on the line for situations like this, you are now obligated. Since you're at the halftime show and this is your hometown, you're now obligated to make a stance during halftime show. I don't care about nobody else. I'm holding you accountable for that. I'm holding you accountable. Who am I? Nobody, but I'm holding you accountable for that. You are now obligated to say something during that halftime show. Now, I was pretty upset with, black people pouncing on R. Kelly or whatever the case may be, as if they didn't know about the situation already. I was upset with that. Black people coming down on black people. But if you don't say something during this doggone halftime show, I hope they bring the house down on you. I don't know what else to say, bruh. This is on you. You got to now take a stance with Colin Kaepernick to force them to see what's really going on out here in these streets. We know what's going on. They know what's going on, but they act like they don't see it. And you have now got to make them see. This is why Colin Kaepernick kneel.